On February 14th, 1985, most television sets were black and white. Love filled the air on yet another Valentine's Day. Calypso finals would also share the day's highlights. But for 6 young men from the village of Gros-Islet, Friday, February 14th, 1985 would begin with boyhood adventure and end in a real-life nightmare. "28 years ago, Gros-Islet was just another fishing village which punctuated the coastline. Its 11,834 residents were mainly seafarers. Among them were Captain Evans Perry Charles, George Phillip and his brother Kennedy Phillip.
We was out home preparing, we were doing our little carpentry work. And then when it was about 3:34, we decided to go and do our normal little fishing.
As fate would have it, today, due to their bad behavior, Christopher Baby Clovis, Dominic Peter Edwin, and George Jones Bruno were put out of class by their Standard 6 teacher. Before long, the three boys, all under the age of 14, have gravitated to the fishing docks in search of adventure. Despite repeated warnings to stay ashore, the trio jump aboard the fishing vessel. In God we trust. Captain Perry reluctantly allows them to stay.
He said we was not going for too long, so we'd have time to bring them back. The boat is a Gommier wooden boat, about 22 feet long. And I was sitting on the edge of the boat.
The 75 horsepower Yamaha propels In God We Trust with ease. A trajectory is set for La Wash, a tiny landmass 1.5 miles off the coast of Gros-Islet. When the boat finally comes to a halt 7 minutes after leaving Gros-Islet, the youngsters breathe a sigh of relief. Finally, the ordeal of a fast-moving craft in choppy seas has abated.
Okay, when we got to La Wash, it was the normal routine. Start casting our net. Then when we finish casting our net, we decide to come back home. When Perry pulled the engine, tried to start the engine, it started. When he put it in gear, could not go forward. Then we noticed something was wrong. Tilt up the engine, we saw we had no propeller.
Unable to get the 75 going, George prescribes rowing the boat back to shore. With the help of Kennedy and Perry, the Gommier begins to inch slowly. With every push of the oars, the ocean currents pull the boat 1 knot backwards. Despite the futility of the exercise and looming dark skies, the men continue rowing. Finally, with blistered hands, back pain, and no closer to land, the reality sets in. they are at the mercy of the ocean currents.
Two of us decided, saying that we will jump a sea and try and see if we could reach shore. But then after we decide we're not going to make it, because if we try to swim ashore, we won't make it, we won't survive there. So we stayed on board. Then nighttime fall, we were expecting somebody to come and rescue us because it was not a usual thing.
Back in the village, Lugero, a childhood friend of the Phillip brothers, has raised the alarm. The news travels faster than the results of the Calypso finals held the previous night.
Yeah. Want to make a report of some fellows who went out to sea some 2 hours ago. They actually missing, you know, they went.
Lugero liaises with community activist Thaddeus Montoute. Together, they mobilize the St. Lucia Marine Unit, and within hours, they are aboard the Defender on a search and rescue mission. On board the Defender, the captain and the search party are at odds in the location for the search. Hours pass, with each man gazing at the ocean with anticipation, but to no avail. All the while, the 6 men continue to drift further and further away.
Following day, next morning, we saw an island. I cannot recall which island was it. Then the sea was very rough that day, very, very rough. We was very much afraid at that time. The boys started saying, the younger ones started saying, they're hungry, they want to go home and stuff like that, getting us more worried. It so happened we had a small line on board. We decided we're gonna fish. We clean it, we put it to, get a little sun, dry it up and stuff. And we had a little bite each of this thing.
It is now well over 48 hours since anyone aboard had had a drink of water. The salty, dried fish only amplifies their thirst. George started an odd joke, and pretty soon, everyone broke the cardinal rule.
We all went for a sip of the seawater. Yeah, all of us. Yeah. Well, it was like fun for us at the time too. Yeah, it was like fun. I don't know about that. Off and on, I would go for my little portion of seawater, have a drink from it. During the daytime, we would tie a rope around our wrist and take a dive in the sea. At a certain stage, when the guys started getting too weak, even myself too, we could not do that anymore. The bailer we was using to bail out water from the boat, we would take water from the sea and wet ourselves with it. Right through the day we would do that because the sun is very hot.
By day 3, the sun is beaming down mercilessly. To circumvent boredom and to stretch their limbs, the boys take turn frolicking always cognizant of their place on the food chain while doing so. All the while, Perry, George, and Kennedy are trying to MacGyver their gourmet back to life.
We tried a raincoat we had on board. We tried to make a sail out of it, yeah. It did not work. It did not work. Must be drifted us further away, probably.
Day 3's hope has decayed into worry, which is slowly festering into illness and anger.
Next morning, more worries on board. More worries on board. Then the younger guys started feeling sick and stuff like that, yeah. Started feeling sick and tried to assist them, whatever way we could have.
Finally, after more than 72 hours, the skies reluctantly sprinkle some hope.
The collection of water was very, very slim. It was maybe one of them plastic cups, maybe just that. We collected a couple days after. It rained. It did rain a couple of days after, in the middle of nowhere. Just a shower just come down. Right. Yeah.
It's day 4 aboard the fishing vessel In God We Trust. George Jones Bruno, Dominic Peter Edwin, Christopher Baby Clovis, and Captain Perry Charles, together with George and Kennedy Phillip, have been drifting miles away from St. Lucia because the propeller of the 75 horsepower Yamaha has been completely destroyed. Their diet since the nightmare began has been a combination of raw, dried fish and servings of pure seawater. This is a recipe of slow poison because the more we drink salt water, the thirstier we become. Due to the excess salt content in seawater, the body does not register the water in it, but only registers the salt. As such, there would be no satiation, but only maddening desire to drink more and more water. This causes elevation of blood pressure, which puts excess strain on the heart. To cope with increased pressure, the heart rate increases, causing perspiration, resulting in increased loss of water from the body. Other side effects are headache, dizziness, nausea, blood-stained stool, and vomiting. This eventually leads to hallucination, impaired judgment, and eventually brain damage. What follows from all these symptoms is death. While the 22-foot boat with a useless engine drifts, the mood on board is rather light and pleasant, with occasional bursts of laughter as Creole fills the tiny hull.
When we get back home, we will go to that. We will eat the most amount of food we could have eaten, at that time because we're hungry. And we will crack a little joke between one another, Yeah. It was all about food, how much we're gonna eat when we get back, Yeah. Or if a boat rescue us, first thing we'll go for is for food, Yeah. We would say to each other, they must be saying that we're dead already. They must be having a wake on our head already. Kassan, si mon pas n'en fait, ou comprendre, ou quand il dit maman moi, qui m'a dit moitié, bah comme ça, Yeah.
As the hours tick away, the unbearable heat makes way for chilly star-filled nights. The mood on board the boat shifts like the water beneath it. Perry shows signs of illness while he ponders on the fate of his unborn child should he not make it. George is always hatching a plan, while Peter and the others do the only thing possible. But for the first time since the ordeal started, they watch in disbelief as a slow-moving vessel appears far in the distance. Sadly, there are no flares or lanterns on board. Tuesday, February 18th begins with the usual communal prayers while everyone nibbles on their portion of dried fish. Perry seems withdrawn. He refuses to partake in the catch of the day, opting to camouflage his illness.
Perry became weak. He had diarrhea. Yeah, he became weak and he had diarrhea. He had a diarrhea. Then the younger one started breaking down and we got more worried because he was the captain. The second day, we bathed him, because he got weak, could not do nothing for himself at that time. So take water, bathe him. Like I said, the diarrhea in that same boat. Yeah. Just lie down in the boat and that's it. He stayed there 2 days with us. That's when we realized he passed away. Yeah. No one saw when he died. No.
The lifeless body of 21-year-old Perry Charles lay on the deck of the In God We Trust. As the sunlight faded, the remaining crew gathered around it. George leads them in prayer. And with that, Perry's lifeless body is sent to a watery grave. In the aftermath of Perry's demise, sadness consumes the hull while the men try to focus on survival. But by Tuesday, February 24th, Christopher Baby Clovis begins exhibiting the identical symptoms which claimed Perry. A flood of perspiration pours from his brow, and the stench of human waste tells the tale of a young man staring down the ocean of death. Baby's battle with illness is swift as the Green Reaper overpowers him and claims his 14-year-old soul. Christopher Baby Clovis was offered the same rite of passage as Captain Perry.
Mood became worse among the younger ones again, even myself and my brother. Very worried, anxious to get rescued. Nothing much doing on the boat by just waiting.
The emotional turmoil, coupled with his diet, was now taking its toll on Jones's mind and body. In the middle of the night, on February 25th, he springs to life and lands multiple kicks, punches, and a series of obscenities at Peter. George and Kennedy, understanding the bigger picture, have much difficulty subduing Jones. Jones has suffered a mental breakdown.
Jones, he became very troublesome at one time after his baby's death. Yeah, he became very troublesome. He wanted to go home. He wanted to get rescued. I think that we did tie him down at one time. Yeah.
Possibly because of the effects of consuming seawater, mental illness has arrested Jones. He goes on a hunger strike as he is tied in the boat for days to ensure his safety and that of the other occupants. His occasional conversations with himself is an indicator of him sinking deeper and deeper into the abyss of mental depression. As the days go by, Jones's hunger strike haunts all on board. He's untied, and as bizarre as it started, it comes to an unpredictable end.
In the end, that was in the night, he jumped overboard.
In the days following Jones's suicide, morale on the vessel spirals. The men completely lose track of time. Night and day become one and the same, and the essence of living is lost. This period takes a greater toll on George than anyone else. The stark reality that mental illness has captured George stuns both Peter and Kennedy. The clock is winding down quickly on George Phillips' life, and there is nothing his brother can do to reverse this tide.
But his behavior changed maybe about 2 days after Jones went overboard. Yeah. He became very troublesome too. He would say he wants to go home, he's seeing land and stuff like that. And he would ask me to, help him out to go home. I would ask him to behave. Yeah, started arguing with me. There is land, he can see land, he wants to go. He took a portion of rope we had there and a buoy. Consider he's jumping overboard. That was the time I grabbed him and hold him down. We did not tie, I could not tie him because it was just the three of us. And he cooled out for a while. I was a bit tired, not a bit tired, tired and weak. And I went and took a rest. And after a while, Peter told me, my brother jumped overboard. And I saw him drifting away.
Perry succumbs to hunger, thirst, and a diet of dried fish and seawater. So too does Baby. Jones and George both lose touch with reality. Jones plunged into swift-moving current, while George swore that land was mere feet away and took the final breaststrokes to a watery grave. In the wake of George's demise, Peter and Kennedy become inherently focused on survival. They learn to cultivate patience, coupled with unwavering faith that survival is indeed possible.
Well, we would talk to each other, try to encourage each other. I would take water, bathe him. I would bathe myself.
Oh, missing.
I started seeing light. I was not too sure, but I told him I am seeing light. He became a little excited, but didn't have the energy. I went on cool out, he went on chill out. As the night goes by, still gradually I seen the light coming closer and closer. How it happened, I saw land that night. I only gazed at that land, staring at that land from the time I saw it until I could not see it again. I said to him, we might get rescued. Yeah. I went and take a nap. Well, went and chill out because all night we did not sleep. When I wake up again, could still see the land like we're going to make land. I said to him, we're gonna swim. He said to me, no, don't go and leave him. He said, I will not go and leave you. I took one of the seats we had on the boat. I pushed it in the water. Then I saw a couple of fishes surrounded it, circle around it. I said to him, we're not going. I went back in the boat, cool out. And when I wake up again, I did not see him on board.
Peter! Peter!
For the rest of the day, despite his unique ability to block out tragedy and negative thoughts, Kennedy expresses a profound feeling of depression and sadness over Peter's loss. Peter lived to see the promised land for which they had waited, but he will never get a chance to enter. Now, totally exhausted, weak, and on the brink of death, Kennedy slips into dreamland. When he awakens, he comes face to face with a reality that his 5 crewmates had hoped for, but never saw.
To be honest, I cannot recall if it was during the day or in the night. I felt the boat rocking and rocking and rocking, like it's not going nowhere. I got up, and then I see that boat is on the beach. got out of that boat, I tried to walk. I fell back on my knees. I crawled away from the boat.
Hola. Señor, hola.
Sí, está vivo, señor. Hola, señor.
¿Me coge la camilla entonces?
Sí, ve y cógela, búscala. Búscala.
Vamos a ayudarlo. Coge la camilla, vamos.
Some voices I heard, and I saw some people standing over me.
Despierte, señor. Ah, tenemos que subirlo. Súbanlo, súbanlo.
These people questioned me. I answered.
¿Quién es este? ¿Quién es este hombre? ¿De dónde viene? ¿Qué le pasó? Pero tenemos que ayudarlo, hay que ayudarlo. ¿De dónde será? ¿Qué pasó con
I
él?
don't know if it was English, whatever. I did not know. But I answered the people.
Pero, ¿a la enfermería? ¿Dónde va a ser? No tenemos otro lugar.
Está seca. Vamos a darle, apúrate.
I think these people took me by the home.
Sí.
Bien,
Tenemos que cuidar a este hombre esta mañana.
pero
Él
tenía
dice
que es ese tipo, es una mala
La
idea.
enfermera ya se fue. Tenemos que cuidarlo. Está enfermo. Tenemos que cuidarlo.
Pero ¿quién es ese tipo?
No importa quién sea.
They gave me some milk and they had some biscuit. They crushed some biscuit in the milk. Give it to me. They asked me where I'm from. I told them I'm from St. Lucia. I got lost at sea and stuff like that. How many of us was on board? I told them it was 6 of us on board. They asked me for the rest of them. I told them they're dead.
Señor. ¿Está usted bien, señor? Hola. José, Dios mío. ¿Qué le pasa?
Sores on my feet, worms underneath my toes. I had to go back, learning how to walk again. And every day I keep on asking, when am I going home? Keep on telling me, soon, soon.
Making landfall in Colombia was only half of the journey. Making it back home would prove to be another clandestine adventure.
¿Cómo te llamas? Oye, escucha.
And one day while I was at the hospital, the guys from the army came to me and tell me they're arresting me. But I asked them for what? They said they understood that I was on some... They understood there was one Philip on some drugs moved from Trinidad. I spent 3 days with them in there. Yeah, 3 days. Well taken care of. No mischief, nothing. Then they sent me back. They took me back to the hospital. Yeah. But there was this gentleman that would come and visit me every now and then. And he used to speak English. He would tell me, one day you will go home. I will take you home. And this gentleman came to me and told me, we're going tomorrow morning. I told him, where? Tell me we're going to Aruba. Okay, I went with him. That was May 1st. We traveled from Colombia to Aruba.
A friend of a friend of a friend of the guy who smuggled Kennedy was a St. Lucian. They arranged to send a telex to St. Lucia with the news. After spending 2 days in Aruba, the day John Kennedy Phillip had long awaited was here.
Skyjus! Skyjus! Kennedy!
Yes, I'm home. I am home. Praise God. When I heard the voice of my Mugero and my brother, somebody had to carry me out. I started crying. I think I survived because I had to bring back the message.
To anyone facing a crisis, contemplating suicide, or has lost hope, the lone survivor who trusted in God has these parting words.
Never give up hope. Never think that you're the worst out. And have confidence in God.